from New York and on the new Hot 97 app. Ebro in the morning on Hot 97.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is Ebro in the morning. You got the beautiful Laura Stiles. You have the amazing.
Thank you.
I tried to give you something today.
Thanks, man.
Needed an adjective for you. Rosenberg and Larry Sharp. Ladies and gentlemen.
I am here.
You are running as an independent.
No, don't insult me. I'm a libertarian.
Libertarian.
I am indeed a libertarian. I'm the libertarian candidate for governor of New York.
So explain to us what libertarian is.
I hear that all the time. Let me tell you what libertarian is. Libertarian is someone who says you can be as liberal or as conservative as you want to be. Just don't force others to be like you.
Got it.
That's what we are all about. We are all about long-term solutions, not short-term solutions. We're all about changing culture, not just changing law. Law, we have to remember something. At the end of almost every single law is a guy or a gal with a gun who will put you in a cage. And if you don't want to go in that cage, he or she is going to kill you. That means you only use law when it really matters, not just because I'm angry, not because I don't like you, not because you should do some activity I think you shouldn't do or whatever the case may be. It's only for important things like life and liberty and property and things like that. That's when you use violence. That's when you use force. That's what libertarian's all about.
And it sounds like a great
I got from you. I like that.
That's big.
That's good. I like that. I got
Well, no, it sounds great, but you would, based on what I'm hearing, it seems like more people would be for this. How come more people
They don't know
aren't?
any better.
They don't know any better.
It's true. They don't know any better. The reality of it is the vast majority of people, if you actually explain it to them, go, oh, yeah, that makes sense. I get a right? All the time. It makes sense. The problem is we don't know any better. We've been taught literally for decades that the only answer is law. The only answer is force people to change.
And
Let
it
me
seems
be real
like
clear.
people enjoy picking sides, too. They
100%.
pick Republican and Democrat like it's
Life
football
is
team
easy.
or something.
Life is easy when I'm red team or blue team. Life is easy. I know. I grew up in the Bronx. I know. Life is easy when it's red team or blue team, right? Because you're wearing my red jersey or my blue jersey. You're my guy. You're my gal. You're not. You're the bad guy. Life is easy. But that's not how life actually works. You know, life is gray. Life is nuanced.
Nuanced.
It is.
We talk about
Life is
nuance a
nuanced.
lot on this program.
Absolutely, and it is.
And why would I be insulting you to say independent?
Because I'm not independent. I'm libertarian. Independent
But
means you don't
tell-
have a party. I have
So
a
you're
party.
just, it would be disrespecting the party.
That's
That-
correct.
That
You're
exists. That already
disrespecting
I
exists.
have a party.
See, I'm
right?
disrespectful to the parties. I'm registered independent.
I love it, but that's because everyone thinks that party is team red or team blue. I'm telling you, this election, you got to vote team gold. And let
Oh,
me
you
tell
guys have a color?
Of course we do.
Nice.
Come on, now,
Gotta
we're a
jump
party.
You're a
in.
team, so you're a team.
We're a team. Absolutely.
All right,
but here's
all right.
the difference, right? If
Right.
right now, if you vote either team red or team blue in 2018 in a statewide election, I mean statewide,
Okay.
like governor, senator, whatever. If you vote in a statewide election right now, team red or team blue, nothing is going to change. His Majesty King Andrew Cuomo wins again, and nothing changes. If you vote red, the red team's not going to win in a statewide election. It hasn't won in decades. It's not going to win. They haven't won. When's the last time they won? Pataki is the last time they actually won something. They don't win Senate. They don't win AG. They don't win anything.
But then you have a bunch of senators that do the whole, what is that, independent Democratic caucus and caucus for
well,
Republicans.
that's state.
in there.
I'm talking state Senate.
Oh, state, got it.
I'm talking a statewide election. Meaning
Statewide. Yeah.
An election that goes to D.C.
Got it.
right? Or an election that crosses the state, like Attorney General or the governor.
Got it,
In
got
that
it.
type of election, the red team doesn't win. The red team wins locally. In fact, when it comes to counties, there's more Republican counties than our Democrat counties. Clearly,
Yeah.
right? There are more Democrats than there are Republicans, but there are more Republican counties than our Democrat counties. Clearly,
Got it.
It's urban versus rural.
And so your big challenge right now is, A, to get people to understand what libertarian is, first and foremost. And then, B, what are the main initiatives that libertarian
My
as a
biggest
party
challenge
find?
is not that. My biggest challenge is people just hearing me.
Got it.
When people hear me, they get it, right? I've been in 2 polls. Most of the time people don't want to poll with me, right? 2 polls. I've been in the Gravis poll and a Quinnipiac poll.
Okay.
And what we find is 2 things. I average as a general rule under 20% name recognition. So most people don't know who I am.
That's right.
But people who know who I am, I poll at 25%. Let me say it again. If you just know who I am, I poll at 25%. So all you have to do is hear me talk, and you go, that guy makes sense. And before you know it, you hate your own team, and you wind up voting for me. So my issue isn't getting the message out. I'm good at that. My issue is getting people to hear me getting in front of the right people so that people go, yes, like this, so thank you for this.
Yeah, no
Exactly.
problem. So let's go through it. Big problems in the state of New York.
Tons of them. I can go on forever.
So let's start with the MTA.
MTA is an
upgrades,
embarrassment. Let me be
changes, and
clear
what
on
your
this.
plan is.
The MTA is an embarrassment. And we are right now a hostage to the MTA, and we should be ashamed of that. The answer that every gubernatorial candidate will tell you is you have to find new ways to fund the MTA. Shame on them. The average MTA employee makes about $118 an hour. Let me say it again. The average MTA employee makes about $118 an hour. The average New York State employee, meaning if you work in New York State, is about 20. New York City, about 30. And our answer is give them more money? Shame on you. No, not at all. The MTA will get no more money from me, not one single dime. You will keep the budget you have, and you will fix it. And they will tell me, Governor Sharp, you're crazy, and they will strike. And that's fine, because here's what we'll do. New York City's been through this before, more than once. When I'm governor, they're going to strike. We will prepare New York City for the strike. It's going to happen.
So
And
you
when
ready
it
for
happens,
action out here.
I'm a Marine, and I don't mind breaking a hole in this system. I will break a hole, but you got to follow me through it. I will bust a hole in this. I'm first in. I don't mind. I will make sure that we are prepared for this. And we will find things like Uber, like Via. I will allow Google to come in with Google cars.
Uber's going
I
to
don't
price
care.
gouge you. Uber's going to price gouge you.
Then Uber will only price gouge if we don't allow other options. Price gouging comes from monopoly, right? When we allow Lyft to be in there and Via to be in there and taxi cab, then they won't price gouge anymore, right? Not just that, don't have cops sit at the bridges and arrest people for charging $5 to bring people into the city, which is what happened last time, right? Don't do that. Prepare for it. If we prepare for this, the MTA will have to fix itself. There'll be no way around it. I don't have to cut anything. Any other option is give them more money and stay a hostage to a terrible system.
What about people
I will not
who
be
have
a hostage.
What about people who have zero other travel options?
And that's my point. They'll know in advance. This won't be like tomorrow. Once they see that I'm actually going to win, we'll be ready for this. I'll prepare the city for this, of course. Now, you might say, well, is this a de Blasio issue? It isn't. The MTA covers about 10 or 11 counties. So by default, this is a state issue, right? So we have to have the governor fix this thing.
And Cuomo puts it off on de Blasio because it's the easiest thing to do.
Of course, because none of them want to deal with the most important thing, which is this is a broken system. The system is completely broken. Nobody wants to go to war with them. They're all afraid of losing their votes. Fine. Doesn't matter. I'm not worried about that. If I win, I win. If I don't, I don't. But if I win, we will fix the MTA. This I promise you. It may take a month. It might take that long. It's possible. But it doesn't matter.
Could it take longer?
Probably not, because the longer the MTA strikes, the worse off it is. Because, look, I'm a New Yorker. I've been in New York City for years. I'm born in Manhattan. Here's what I know. We are resilient. We are super resilient.
But you got to be ready for action.
That's correct. So if it actually goes longer than a month, it's going to become irrelevant.
Yeah, but most people from low-income communities can't afford to. If it strikes for a month, how are they going to send their kids to school? How are they going to go to work?
What I'm telling you is we'll have an answer. We have to. The other answer, here's your other answer. If you say, no, Larry, we can't do that, you are saying, I'm a hostage. If I'm a hostage, I fight my jailer. If that takes a week, if that takes a month, I fight my jailer. Your other answer is it goes up to $5 now. $5 now is your answer. You're okay with that? If you're poor, you're okay with $10 a day to take your kid to school?
No, it's ridiculous.
Thank you. Plus another $5 for you to get to work in the morning? I'm not okay with that.
Yeah.
I'm not okay with us paying more and more money to basically the mob so that they can give us horrible service and laugh at us and treat us like garbage when the trains fall, right? Trains fail. Trains fail every day in this city.
And nobody does anything.
And no one does anything about it. Why? It's a monopoly.
Didn't just the other day, they didn't even communicate that the train service was
Why
Yes, on
bother?
Monday.
What are you going to do? Nothing. Because you're afraid. What are you going to do? Because you're afraid. I'm not afraid.
Larry, you're hyped up off this MTA.
We will break it. The state is broken. And we have people who are saying things like, well, we'll tweak this or tweak that, or the worst, we just need more funding. That's embarrassing. We have a $170 billion budget. $170 billion budget. Florida has more people than we do. Their budget's half. We have counties in this state that are 1/3 of Medicare, 1/3 of Medicaid, with a dwindling population, a rising tax bill. You don't have to be a math genius to figure out this isn't going to work, right? This can't work. It's not sustainable. Over 100,000 New Yorkers leave this state every single year. About 1 million since His Majesty came on board. 1 million New Yorkers leaving.
Why you keep calling him His Majesty?
Because he thinks he's a king.
Cuomo.
He does. Of course he does. He's King Andrew. Of course he is.
Why
His
do you feel
father
like
was
that?
king, and now he's king. Long live the king.
Got
Of
it.
course he is. Has His Majesty done anything that would show that he actually cares about the people? Look, none you can even answer. Thank you.
Recently, he's been trying to make an effort on the Puerto Rico.
Oh, my God. He's
issues.
gone to Puerto Rico after being there for 8 years, and we have New Yorkers, literally New Yorkers, who can't pay their bills. And he went to Puerto Rico. Let me ask you a question about why is he in Puerto
Well,
Rico.
and
Yeah,
also
but you have to. Are you suggesting that he shouldn't do that?
Yes, that's what I'm suggesting. Why are you in Puerto Rico?
But at the same time, because if you are governor of New York,
Yep.
you have constituents here who have
That's
care a
important,
lot
sir.
about Puerto Rico.
So do people in Connecticut, so do people in New Jersey. Puerto Ricans are all over our country. Does that mean every governor should be running to Puerto Rico? No, of course not. Plus, he goes there 4 or 5 times. Let's be clear about His Majesty. He has over $30 million in his coffers right now. His nearest competitor has about $1 million.
Well, I think you should be more specific because I don't know if this is public information, but the money that he has was contributed to him by the same vulture venture capitalists who are taking advantage of the island of Puerto Rico.
Yes.
So the more that he can quell kind of like that blowback of Puerto Ricans knowing what's actually happening to their island
The more he
and
can take the
making it
money from the
look
people.
like everything's cool, it takes the pressure off the people taking advantage of the
But
island.
hold on, he's got over $30 million, right? And his nearest competitor has about $1 million. He's winning in every poll, and he's the incumbent. Why is he raising money? Yeah, why is he raising money? You have 30 times your competitor. You're winning in every poll. You're the incumbent. Why? Because he's running for president. That's why he's in Puerto Rico. He's saving money. He will write his check once he's done. He'll take that $30 million, write a check over to his presidential campaign, and run for president. He's taking New York people's money right now under the guise of running for governor. He's not. He needs no more money, right? Again, 30 times his nearest competitor, winning every poll, and the incumbent. You don't need any more money. He's still raising money. Why? So you can write that check over to become president. He's running for president now. That's why he's in Puerto Rico. If I believed he actually cared about Puerto Ricans, I'd be quiet. He doesn't.
That's fair. No, I'm not saying. By the way, I'm playing devil's advocate. I'm not
Yes.
saying that you're wrong for feeling that way.
Yes.
What skill set do you have? What experience do you have that should make people feel confident about Larry Sharp,
I
the
love this
governor?
question. Oh my God, I love this question. People say all the time, Larry, why should we vote for you? You don't have any government experience. That's the reason to vote for me. That in itself is the reason to vote for me. Just for that. This state has been in decay for decades, and the people who are running on the red team and blue team are literally career politicians. That's all they've done. If you like what New York is and you're happy with how they pushed out cryptocurrency, pushed out hemp and marijuana, still trying to push out Uber, tried to push out Airbnb, tried to push out everything new, all new money to only keep old money in this state. If you're happy about that, if you're happy about seeing how much money we're spending and getting terrible results, if you're happy about an education system that drops over $20,000 per student and still we're not even above average, if you're happy about that, Cuomo's your man. Awesome. The system's been working for you. If you're not, you want someone who's not part of that system. But that isn't enough. I'm a business guy. That's who I am. I spend my time helping businesses out. Not anymore. Now I'm campaigning, losing money. But before I was doing this, I was actually a consultant. I train people. I train companies. I have customers like Estee Lauder. I've like Models is my customer. I do with individuals. I've taught in different colleges.
So
I've
you're
taught
a
at Baruch.
business owner.
I am. Yeah, 14 years.
And
Absolutely.
And how would you?
And I've taught in college. I've taught at the graduate level of Columbia and Yale. I've done a lot of stuff around here. And I understand what's happening in the private sector now, so I can bring that to actually the government to make it actually more efficient. And that's the point.
So how would you confront corporate greed in our state?
It's a great question. There's a lot of the number one issue is the less money Albany gives out, the less corruption there is. Right? So we have to get rid of these economic development corporations, which are all over the state. They decide where money goes. So basically, Albany takes all the money, holds on to it, and says
Tax money.
Yes, takes all the money and says, you know what? Who does what I want to do? You do it? All right, here's my money. Oh, no, I don't like you. Oh, you know what you did? You gave me a bunch of money for my campaign. You get money. So it's literally corporatism, right? As I take the money and I give it out to people who I want. But here's how Cuomo does it very well. He's very good at this. He's created all these boards, all these authorities, all these corporations, and then he doesn't actually do it. What he does is he then puts people on the board. Now, you can do your own homework on this. He's raised about $800,000 from people who he's put on boards. Here's what he does. There's a problem with cigarettes. There's a problem with computers. A problem with X, Y, and Z. Here's what I'll do. I'll make a commission. I'll call it the Solve This Problem Commission, and I'll have 1 or 2 people that I'll appoint to the board, and the rest will be people from the industry. See, that'll be awesome. It'll be fair. Who do I appoint? Oh, you gave me money. I appoint you. You give me money. I appoint you.
Inside job.
Yes.
Nepotism.
That's why all those people go to jail, but he doesn't. That's the reason why. He protects himself.
I've heard of this. I've
Good
heard
mob
of this
boss.
with him.
Great mob
So-
boss.
so-
He makes sure his capos go under, but he doesn't.
So let's take it a step further. when Cynthia Nixon was just here, one of the things I challenged her on is, while I love a lot of what she's talking about, do you like Cynthia Nixon?
Yeah, she's wonderful. Yeah. Look, we overlap in a lot of other things. The issue that I have with Nixon is our end game is almost exactly the same. The problem is the way she wants to get there is impossible, can't work.
Well, see, that's where I
wrong,
challenged
it
her. I
doesn't
said, I
work.
don't think you can get done what you're
Yeah, it's
trying to
impossible.
get done.
You can't just say give them more money. That's the problem. You have to actually change culture.
Well, and
If
see,
you're a
I'm going to
business owner,
challenge you and
change
say
color.
the same thing.
Sure.
I don't think that New Yorkers are angry enough in mass for them to hear what you're saying and be brave enough to confront the challenges
Sure.
that you are pointing out and giving you the time to do it.
Sure. Let me give you two things. One is what you just said is, Larry, can you win?
Yeah.
You just asked me.
Yeah.
And the second thing you asked me is, Larry, if you win, can you do anything? Did I get your two questions right?
Pretty much.
All right. Can you
It
win?
was more, Larry, can you actually do what you're saying you're going to
I'll
do?
give you both.
And will the people be supportive?
I'll give you both. Can I win? Of course I can win. And let me tell you why I can win. New York is a plurality state, which means that you don't have to have 51%. You have to have more than the rest. There'll be 5 people running, right? Probably 5 people running. There'll be His Majesty will run, obviously. The Republican sacrificial lamb will run. Howie Hawkins, the Green Party guy, will run.
The who party?
Green Party. Howie Hawkins.
Howie Hawkins.
He will run from the Green Party. Then odds are Nixon will lose to Cuomo in the Democratic primary. And odds are the Working Families Party will get rid of her and go back to Cuomo. So probably Stephanie Minor will run. And then me. 5 people. That's what will probably happen. If Nixon stays in, 6. But I don't think she will. But who knows? She knows better than I do. So 5 or 6 people, which means 30% can win this thing. 30% is a victory. I poll at 25% of people just know who I am. So I get enough money to get my name out, I'm 5 points from victory. This is possible to win. But more importantly, there are 3 types of people who come to me. Number 1, unhappy Democrats, Republicans. There's lots of them. But many of them, to your point, are afraid. And when they get into the polling
Or
booth,
just not quite sure they have the stamina, wherewithal, mental fortitude, et cetera, et cetera.
The stats show that. If an independent person polls when it comes to likely voters, whatever they poll at, they get about half. Right? So if 10 people say they're going to vote independent in any way, shape, or third party, about half go back to their old ways. You're right. That happens all the time. But that's just one part of who I need to get. The second part of people I need to get is those people who don't vote. I don't know if you know this, but 70% of New Yorkers don't vote. It's huge. Now, Bernie and Trump both taught us this in 2016. If you can get people who don't vote to vote, you win. The average person who votes often, if you vote all the time, you usually vote because of fear, right? I'm afraid of the other guy, so I vote. Right? I don't want Hillary, I vote Trump. I don't want Trump, I vote Hillary. That's the most common way most people who vote often vote. That's not a 100% rule, but it's good at 80, 85% rule. But if you want people who don't vote to vote, it's hope, right? Trump gave the right hope, Bernie gave the left hope. The Democratic establishment was so broken that Bernie wasn't their nominee. He should have been their nominee because he was the hope for the left. It should have been hope versus hope. It wasn't hope versus hope. It was hope versus establishment, and hope won. Ocasio-Cortez, hope won. Hope often. Obama.
You like
Hope
Ocasio-Cortez?
won. She's my congressperson, believe it or not. She's mine. I live in Astoria. She's literally represents me. She'll be representing me.
You voted for her?
I did not. I'm not a Democrat.
Got it.
Yes, I'm libertarian, so I didn't vote for her.
So was there a libertarian candidate there?
There was not. No, we don't
So-
have libertarians in every
So
county.
are you the type of person that just because when it came down to it, I don't know the rules, I'm not familiar.
No, I
but
couldn't vote for her. You can only
Right.
vote for her if you're Democrat. I'm
Got
not
it.
a registered Democrat. I could not vote for her.
Got it, because
So
it
I
was a
could not vote.
primary.
It was a
It was a
primary.
primary, that's right.
Yes, I could not vote for her.
So talk to me. Let's talk.
Let me finish my point real fast.
Well,
I just-
hang on.
I'm gonna- you
you
want me
make
to
great
show you?
points. No, but you make great points. You make great points and you sound good. But
Well, I like that.
You
You gave me a butt, and that's not good. Keep going.
well, no, but the but is because you were going to continue to make great points because you do a good job. That's
what I do.
The but is, what are the human elements of who you are? Because I think what is coming across in this conversation is you're very buttoned up and you know how to go to war.
I do.
You know how to deal with what's
correct.
ahead of us. But a lot of times, and you know this because it seems like you've studied it, people want to know about the guy.
Sure.
You're a married man. You have kids. You're born in Manhattan.
I am born in Manhattan. I was adopted. I'm 50 years old, so this is the 60s when I was born. So I was born in Manhattan. I was adopted by a biracial couple. They brought me to the Bronx, Yankee Stadium, Rubber Yankee Stadium. I grew up on Walton Avenue, Hunsley First Street. So my religion is the Yankees, yes. So yeah, when I was 7, I thought I was going to be, I was going to go to the World Series with Reggie
So
Jackson.
you play a little baseball.
Used to, not anymore, but I used to. I threw out a first pitch upstate Utica Blue Sox, and yes, I threw a strike. I'm 50. I can still throw a strike.
There you go.
I respect
So yes. So anyway, and it's on YouTube if you want to watch it.
No, not so much.
It is there.
I'm gonna check it out.
It is there.
Not so
Yes,
much.
It is. Anyway, so
You seem like you have a sense of humor.
I do. So I was
Telling
born-
dad jokes.
I have lots of dad jokes because I'm a dad, right? When I was about 11, my parents moved out to Long Island, and I grew up as a teenager in Long Island. My father died when I was 12. That was
Sorry to hear that.
devastating for my family. My mom's was an immigrant, and all her family was in Europe, and my father's family abandoned us, so we were lost. I was 17 years old, very unhappy. I joined the Marine Corps. That's why I ran off to the Marine Corps. I spent 7 years in the Marine Corps. When I came back, my mom had a big problem. She could not handle me leaving. She couldn't handle my father's death. It really totally tore her up. She was addicted first to regular drugs, legal drugs, and then eventually illegal drugs. She was a victim of the drug war. She was a felon. I pulled her out of prison. She literally had 2 garbage bags in her hands. That was what she was. That's what was left of her life. Did my best to get her up and running, apartment, with all my savings, car, get up and running. And I saw how hard it was for her. Like, she literally had to lie on all her forms because she was a felon. And whenever she got a job, she was a hostage because she would do whatever the boss says because she was afraid to lose her job because she's a felon. So because of that, one of the reasons why I started my own business. This is her, me, and my step-pop. We became truck drivers. We started our own trucking business. And I didn't want my mom to be a hostage anymore. I wanted her to have her own world. I wanted her to be her own boss. So that was my first foray into
Business.
into being an entrepreneur. We did it for a couple of years. Then they were happy. They went off to run it on their own. I went off to do other things, my own thing. I did several sales jobs. I sold almost everything. I sold things from cars to books to everything you can imagine. I sold mattresses. I sold everything. Then I decided to start my own business and did that again. And that did not go well. I sold that one off. Then I had one more job. Then I started this business. And I've been in now for 14 years. I have been a consultant, a trainer, as I said before. That's what I do for a living. I've been an officer in a public company twice, and that's what I do. Now, while that was happening, I got married. And now I met my wife in high school. We were both in high school in Central Islip. I was 17, she was 16. I thought she was the greatest thing in the world. She thought I was some guy. That's it. She was not impressed. I was just some guy. So I was wooing her, trying to get her to go out with me. She wouldn't. Then I go
Did you
off to
write
the
her
Marine
love
Corps.
letters?
I did. I was in the Marine Corps, and I was writing notes from overseas. I sent her gifts from
Gifts.
overseas. Absolutely. I was trying to woo her.
Wait, let's go over gift ideas with the gurus here. What was one of your gift
This
ideas?
was 30 years ago, so
All
I
right.
don't know if this
Let's
is still
hear a
going to
gift
play.
idea.
But my gift idea actually, I sent her a kimono from Japan. I was in Japan.
that's
I sent her a
nice.
kimono.
Actually pretty good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Which, by the way, when I saw her years later, she still had.
Okay.
Okay.
the kimono.
Pretty
She kept
good.
it, yes. So, so I was doing that kind of stuff, and she goes to college. When she goes to college, she writes me a note saying, "Hey, Larry, I'm in love with some guy in college."
Oh,
Thought,
no.
Crushed
"All right,
you, crushed
that's it.
you."
I'm done. So I go off to my own world. I figure I lost her and move on. We don't communicate anyway for about 11 years. 11 years later, I get an email. This is AOL days, right? I get an email from AOL. Yeah, I told you I'm 50. It was AOL.
It's fine. It's
Yeah,
fine.
so-
you probably still have that same AOL account.
She still does. I don't. She still has it. She still has the same one. Yes, she does. So literally, you get all everyone's email address is literally in the copy box. She sees my email address. She responds, "Hey, is this Larry Shaw from high school?" I respond, "Yeah, when we're going out. Next week we go out. Next year we're married."
See,
That
and
was
I'm glad
16
you
years
told
ago.
me that your
Wow.
response to her was, "Hey, when we going out?" When she just said, "Hey, what's going on?" You're very direct.
I am.
You're very direct, which could be
true.
off-putting for some people because a lot of people are used to being dealt with kid gloves,
Mm-hmm.
and that's why I wanted to hear the human side of you because you're very like, "Look, here's what we need to do. I'm ready to go
Yes.
forward. Why is this guy doing that? Why is this guy doing this?" And I think that one of the challenges in people getting to know you is the fact that you are so. It is what it is. It's cut and dry.
Well, here's what
It's a done
people
deal.
want more than anything, though. They want strength. People follow the bold, even off a cliff.
Yeah,
People follow
we're
the
watching it
bold.
with Trump.
Yes, absolutely correct. Yes, they follow the bold.
He bullied his way to an election by seeming strong, if nothing else, by seeming strong.
I mean,
But he's funny. Look, we've even said on this show as much as we don't like him.
Yep.
If he wasn't the president and scary as shit, we would be like, this guy's
You'd
funny.
be watching The Apprentice right now.
Yeah.
Well, no, he
You'd
does
be
a
watching The
he
Apprentice.
does a stand-up routine in stadiums,
For 70 minutes. He can do
improving for an hour.
Yes, I know. Believe it or not, I do the same thing. I spoke to
I
someone
actually,
on
I
college for 4
actually,
hours.
I actually do believe
Yes.
that.
Yes.
You should scale it back from 4. That's a lot.
Four's a
That's my
lot,
highest.
bro.
But usually I do about an hour and a half. The problem is
Okay.
that the state is so broken. The state's so broken, I have too much material. I'm not even joking.
And it's not even funny.
It's not, no. Well, I try to make it funny, but it's bad. I mean, we have a family court system that's so broken, it's destroying men
No, it's
across
crazy.
the state. And no one talks about it. We got problems in this state with budgets in counties that are so bad. We have unfunded mandates that force a county individual county, they don't have enough money. They have to raise money by doing one of two things. One, they raise property taxes past 2% and crush farmers and crush local business owners. Or two, they use law enforcement as a profit center.
Yeah.
And right now, we got cops who are spending more time collecting fees and fines than actually servicing their community. They don't have a choice. This is what happens around this entire state. You see it here in New York City with the state police. You see it all the time, but you see it upstate like there's no tomorrow. These are so many problems that are popping up all over the place. We have so many issues. Education system that's so broken, and all we ever say is let's keep funding it. And it's so bad and so backward, it shouldn't even exist anymore. It's so bad. We have so many problems.
When it comes to education, talk about your concept, that K through 10 concept that you have, because I see people love it and I see people.
The people who hate it don't get it,
understand,
or
yeah.
they're administrators. One or two.
Or they're in the teachers union.
No, teachers union, no. Teachers love me. Administrators don't.
Got it.
Teachers ask me all the time. They come to my events all the time, right? I do at least 30 events every month. I'm actively campaigning.
At least 30.
At least 30 every month. Wow. I am everywhere. I am always out there. Look at my Facebook page. You'll see it. I mean, I list all my events. I'm everywhere. So I lost 50% of my income last year doing this. I will lose 75% this year because I can't work, because I'm literally traveling the state. I'm the only candidate right now who will go anywhere all the time. I go to fairs, county fairs. I shake hands, kiss babies. I take any question. You see me any notes here? I got no notes. I just talk, right? Doesn't matter. Everywhere I go, it's what I do. So I don't have a problem with this, but I'm losing a lot of money doing this because I believe in New York. I care about New York. It's a diverse state. It's a wonderful state. It can be fixed if we turn it around, but someone's got to actually do it. So when I do these big events, teachers all the time say, Larry, how are you going to help me? And I say, here's how I'm going to help you. Two things. Number one, I'm going to get rid of a bunch of your administrators. A bunch of them are going away. We have districts now that have more administrators than teachers.
Wow.
That's embarrassing that exists. Has to go away. And that comes
How's that even happen?
because we have unfunded mandates from both the state and the federal government that give us money, right? And because we want to get the money, we have to follow their rules. All of it comes with strings attached. We have to change the entire funding model. It's completely broken. K through 12 is completely broken. This is a total revamp of the system. Teachers hear that, they love it. Then I say, I'm going to give your actual district, I'm going to give it a surplus. I'm not going to cut anything. I'm going to give it a surplus. Because once it is a surplus, now you can decide in your own district. Is this a raise for teachers? Is this hiring more teachers? Is this buying more equipment? I don't know what's right for your local community. You will decide when I give you a surplus. So that's my goal. As governor,
So you're trying to empower people.
of course. As a governor, I don't want to be the guy who says, I'm the smartest guy in the room and I know everything, do what I say. That's a Kane. It's who we have now. We're in this position because that's who we have now. I want to say, be as local as you can be. I want to be a firefighter. I want to be the guy who, when you're in trouble, you call me. Not I look around and wait to punish you, right? Local communities should be doing things to the best of their ability. Here's what I know from the business world, from life, and we can put into actual government. If you take freedom plus accountability plus transparency, it equals innovation. That's a simple equation, works everywhere. Doesn't exist in this state. I will make it exist in this state. It will change.
So a couple of items.
K through 10, I'll deal with that if you want. Or which
Well,
one?
I was going to say a couple of items before we get you out of here with your pressing items. Prison reform.
Yes, 100%. My father used to be a CO, Rikers Island, so I completely understand the CO problem. And my mom was a felon, so I understand both sides of
And
this.
what would you do?
First things first, we're making a huge error by making black and white thinking. And the black and white thinking is everyone in prison is a victim. Not true. Everyone in prison is evil. Not true. There are people in prison who should be in prison, and I'm glad they're in prison. And there are people in prison who made a mistake and deserve a second chance. And there are people in prison who shouldn't be in prison. The problem is I don't know which ones are which. You know who does? Corrections officers. And we ignore them. They deal with them every single day. I meet corrections officers, I visit prisons, and what I hear every single time from corrections officers are, I got 12 years left, I got 5 years left, I got 7 years left. All they want to do is leave.
Yeah.
That's it. They hate what they're doing. First thing we have to do is make sure the corrections officers are part of the solution. And a great example of this is what's happening right now in Massachusetts, a place called the Humvee program. The Humvee program is where they take 2 COs and a bunch of volunteers to take people out of the prison who are all former veterans, put them in the same community, and then try to make them, set them up so they can support each other and then get out and get back in action. The recidivism rate in Massachusetts is over 70%. This program, under 5%. I want to bring that to New York State as what I'm calling CRU, CRU, community reform units. It's any community, whether that could be gang members, people who've been gender issues, anything. I don't care what it is. The COs will help me to figure out what are the right groups, and 2 of them will come up and fix this. And you might say, well, do COs want to do this? Yes, they do. Some COs just want to be prison guards. That's fine, but some want to actually make a difference. Let them begin to learn the new skills and actually help people and begin to get people back into the system with a real second chance. I saw my mother. She had no second chance. It wasn't for me. She'd been in trouble.
Where are you at with cash bail and the bail?
Yeah, this is the idea that we still have cash bail is embarrassing. Again, this is a terrible idea. If someone's actually a flight risk, if they think that they're actually a flight risk, no worries. Put an ankle bracelet on them. Done. If you really believe someone's a flight risk, put an ankle bracelet on them. There's no need for cash bail. Not required.
Wages. Wage increase.
Why in the world is state government deciding how some restaurant pays its people? Why is that even a thing? That's embarrassingly bad. When we start deciding who gets tips and who doesn't get tips and how the tips get paid, we're going to do two things. Number one, a bunch of people are going to quit those jobs. Big business will win. Big business always wins. Remember, who writes regulations? Corporate lobbyists. Always remember that. Any big regulation will always help big business every time because they literally write it. They will write it. All the chain stores will win. All the small mom and pops will die off. That's how it's already been working already. And when the chain stores win, here's the next thing. Once they get what they want, what's going to replace the server? The kiosk. They will crush the serving industry. If we don't stop this, the serving industry is finished. It is a terrible idea to tell employees what they have to pay people. Instead, let people have collective bargaining. Let them decide, we're not going to work unless you give us X, Y, and Z. Let's encourage employees to collectively bargain so they can get what they want. That makes sense.
And minimum wage, what are we doing for minimum wage in New York State right now? What's our minimum
I think
wage?
it's an 11 something now, going to 15.
When does it go to 15?
Is it 2019, 2020? Something like that.
And how does that, in your mind, because I think that basically big business is going to keep their margins high. The CEO's obviously not going to lose money. And they're just going to hit the people. So the wage, it's a wash.
Look, let me tell you what the actual answer is for that. If you keep raising minimum wage artificially, just saying $20, $15, you see it already. The answer is kiosks. They're going to get rid of people. It's already happening, right? And in fact, I don't know if you know this, in Europe right now, McDonald's has bought machines that make the hamburgers. It's already happening. The more you push business, you are correct. Remember, the politician thinks that they're the right person, the smartest person in the room. They're not, right? The business lawyer is the smartest guy in the room. He always finds a way around the rules, or he writes them himself to make sure there's a loophole, and he gets around it. I want to change culture. I want people to know that there are better ways of doing things. You want to help people in poor communities? Number one thing you want to do? Get rid of licensing. There are licenses to braid hair, licenses to walk dogs. Why in the hell is that a thing?
Well, it feels like it's worthwhile to have that be a thing.
Not at all. You are completely wrong, and here's why you're wrong.
Okay.
You believe...
As a dog owner, I definitely want someone who would want to have...
No. Let me
Knows
tell
how
you
to
why.
handle an animal.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Then, you know what? I have an idea. Then don't use that person. But why would you stop the person from being a dog walker?
Because they feel like the license makes them...
Well, I didn't say go
doesn't.
prosecute people who don't have it.
That's what licensing is. You see, there's a difference between standards and licensing. If you want to say the government has a standard that it believes is the right standard, and that you have an option to take that standard or not, and take a stamp or not, totally agree.
Got it.
100%
You're
yes.
saying, but the fact that the law exists means that if you try to do it without it,
Bingo.
now you get in trouble.
Who is the person who tries to start a dog walking business or does a hair braiding business? It's someone who's not making a lot of money.
Yeah.
It's someone who either maybe their job went away, maybe they lost, maybe they're a stay-at-home mom, maybe their kids just left the nest, they want to start something new, maybe they have a felony and can't get a job, and we're punishing them. And these are all written for safety, so we can punish. It's not safety, my friend. No, there's no, I know how to handle a dog. None of that exists. Check any of the license. It's just for control.
You mean it exists, but not in their ability to get the license.
Right.
What I'm saying is, if you get a license to walk a dog, you don't have to take a special class to be a dog
You just got to
whisperer.
pay a fee.
You just got to pay a fee.
To not get in trouble.
That's
Gotcha.
correct.
Got it. I hear
Which
you.
is
Same
just
with hair
bribery
braiding.
and it's a barrier
It's
to
a
entry
racket.
for the poor.
It's a racket.
Thank you.
It's
It's
a racket.
another way of raising money. It's law enforcement as a profit center. It's morally wrong. When I was a kid in the Bronx, we had guys who would be on a stoop and gals who would be on a stoop who would braid hair for money. We had gypsy cabs. You didn't have Uber back then. We had gypsy cabs. Guy had his car. He painted one door different color. That's how you knew it was a gypsy cab, because one door was painted different color. And you get money, he'd drive you around. We had guys who would be out front, and they'd literally be banging out cars. Cars used to be made of metal. So they'd be banging out cars, right? And they'd be repainting cars. They would make money doing that. You can't do that now. You want to help the poor in this state? Get rid of all these unnecessary licensing, all these unnecessary regulations. You'll help them out. They'll start doing what they need to do. How do I know that? I saw it in my community 30 years ago. It will happen again. That's how you help people. not by raising minimum wage.
Well,
I don't want
Larry,
people at
here's the
minimum
deal.
wage
I like what
jobs.
you're saying, but you can't just yell at Rosenberg all the
I
time.
just did though.
He
can't
yells at
yell at
everyone.
him.
Yes.
He's a yeller. He's a bit of a yeller.
He's a.
Yes.
I mean, look, you got a laundry list of things that you got to.
By the way,
my
people
God,
like
so
yellers.
many.
Trump's a yeller. Bernie's a yeller.
Look, I'm
We're all
not saying
yellers.
it's a knock. I'm
We're
just
all
saying
yellers.
these are things maybe that's going to help people digest what you're saying. His name is Larry Sharp.
Larry Sharp with an E.
Yeah,
The
Sharp with
stands
there's an E
for
on
electable.
the end. And
forget that.
I salute you. But I do want to warn you. I don't think people are ready to do the work that you're asking them to do. I like you, and I like what you're saying.
Does that mean you're gonna vote for me?
Yeah, I might. If you
I
make,
like that. That's
I
what I
might.
hear.
I might.
That's
I
what I'm
might.
hearing.
He's
Let's
in the
go with I
conversation.
might.
He's in the
I like
conversation.
I probably will because you yell at Rosenberg.
Good.
I love that.
So I gotta yell
I'm
more.
for
Okay,
that.
gotcha.
I'm for that 100%. I know you're pro marijuana legalization.
Cannabis and hemp legalized, but here's the most important piece when it comes to cannabis and hemp.
This is important, guys. This
It
is
is
the governor
important.
candidate.
Number one thing that's important: we must not over-regulate or overtax. If we over-regulate or overtax, only big business will win.
That's
I
right.
can't tell you enough of that. People say we got to spend all this money so that we could, take care of the roads. No, we'll take care of roads other ways. Here's what I want to make sure happens. I want to make sure the local farmer who's struggling in New York State, who's a 5 or 7 acre farmer, has a chance at growing hemp or specializing in cannabis. But more importantly, I want to regulate this like onions. I'm not joking, like onions. There are a lot of New Yorkers who have chronic pain, and right now they have 3 options. Option 1, an opioid, and now that's a chance they're going to get addicted. 80% of all our addicts now come out of an FDA-approved prescription. Number 2, they're gonna smoke weed at night in their home, afraid they're gonna get caught. Right? That's gonna happen. That happens. Everywhere I go, someone says that. Larry, I smoke weed at night just so I can get to sleep because of my pain. Or option 3, suffer. I don't like those options. How about instead, you don't have money? I have an idea. Grow your medicine in your backyard. How about that? I'm okay with that. I don't have a problem with that at all. Marijuana is a plant. Grow it if you want to. So yes, absolutely, let it go. I don't have a problem with that at all. Regulate like onions. 100%.
Larry Sharp is his name.
Thanks, Larry.
Libertarian. Give it up for him one time. And at Larry Sharp on the.
That's correct. And Larry Sharp for New York Facebook page.
There you go.